Monday, July 27th. If you ask me, the tension is no longer just about who knows what. It is about who is going to pull the trigger first. Let us look at the current board very quickly, just to see where all our chess pieces are standing before the board gets flipped entirely. Jocelyn is actively interrogating Brennan, testing his loyalty and digging into his motives. Nina is backed into a terrifying corner because Brennan still has not recovered the missing black box, leaving her without any leverage over Drew. Drew is sitting in his wheelchair by the edge of the lake, secretly regaining his mobility and communication, playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Jason and Danny have finally returned home, but the atmosphere is anything but a happy reunion. Meanwhile, Willow is sweating bullets as Elizabeth relentlessly pressures her about giving Drew a voice, knowing full well that if Drew speaks, her life is over. At General Hospital, Lucas is losing his patience with Britt's constant complaining right before Jason is set to make a heart-shattering appearance. And over at the PCPD, Dante and Chase are playing nice to appease Anna Devane, but the ice they are skating on is incredibly thin. That is the board. Now, let us talk about where these pieces are moving and the devastating consequences that are about to unfold. The first future we need to explore revolves around Nina's sheer desperation and Drew's hidden agenda. This could lead to a catastrophic shift in power. If Nina realizes that Brennan's failure to secure the black box means her entire plan to control Drew is dead in the water, her panic will mutate into reckless action. We already know Drew's wheelchair is dangerously close to the edge of the lake. What happens next may be Nina deciding to eliminate the problem permanently. But here is the twist. Drew is not a victim. He is secretly regaining his strength, deliberately provoking Nina to expose her true, murderous colors. If Nina pushes that wheelchair, there is a chance that Drew catches himself, or better yet, someone else walks in at the exact wrong moment, catching Nina in the act of attempted murder. The bigger consequence may be that Nina becomes the prime suspect in a brand new, highly publicized criminal investigation. But let us push this future even further. While Nina is distracted by Drew, Jason Morgan is roaming Port Charles with a highly tuned radar for deception. Jason is not going to blindly trust his brother. He is going to sense that Drew is hiding something massive, likely tied to the black box secrets. If Jason starts digging, he might stumble upon something far more gruesome. Imagine Jason walking into a secluded area and discovering a dead body. I am talking about Kai. We know Kai was gathering evidence against Willow. What if Willow, pushed to the brink of absolute panic by Elizabeth's relentless questioning about Drew's voice, caught Kai in the act and made a lethal, irreversible mistake? If Jason finds Kai's body, he immediately becomes entangled in a murder cover-up. Will he realize Willow is the killer? If he does, he faces an impossible choice: protect the mother of Michael's children or expose a cold-blooded murderer. This path puts Willow in maximum danger, elevates Drew to a master manipulator, and forces Jason into a moral nightmare that could destroy his relationship with Michael forever. Now, let us look at a completely different trajectory. What if the story goes down a path that changes the entire landscape of Port Charles? Let us talk about Jocelyn and Brennan. Jocelyn is not just asking Brennan casual questions. She is testing him. If Brennan continues to lie or withhold the truth about the black box, Jocelyn is going to launch her own rogue investigation. The story could be heading toward Jocelyn uncovering a conspiracy that dwarfs Ross Cullum's cold fusion plot. What if the black box does not just contain blackmail on Drew, but holds the key to Brennan's ultimate endgame, implicating the WSB, the Quartermaines, and the Corinthos Empire? If that happens, Jocelyn becomes the most dangerous person in town. But let us tie this into Jason's return. Jason comes back wanting to prioritize Danny, but he walks straight into a war zone. Instead of just suspecting Drew, what if Jason actively goes to war with him? Drew has been playing the long game, gathering evidence against Nina and Willow. What if Drew tries to use Danny as a pawn to manipulate Jason? This would ignite a blood feud between the brothers, tearing the family apart. Meanwhile, at General Hospital, the dynamic between Britt, Lucas, and Jason is a ticking time bomb. Lucas gives Britt a harsh reality check about her complaining, but the real emotional devastation hits when Jason arrives. Britt has been holding on to the hope of a romantic reunion. But Jason, scarred by his WSB captivity and determined to protect his family, intentionally breaks her heart. He cuts ties completely. In this second future, a shattered Britt doesn't just cry, she channels her devastation into her work. As she dives back into hospital administration, she might stumble upon the medical anomalies in Drew's chart. Britt could be the one to medically prove that Drew has been faking his locked-in syndrome to gather evidence. This makes Britt the ultimate wild card, holding the power to either destroy Drew's master plan or blackmail him. This future completely changes the power dynamics, turning Jocelyn into a master investigator, Jason into a ruthless protector, and Britt into a highly dangerous adversary. This brings us to the third future. This is the most unexpected path, the one that very few people are considering, but it is absolutely fascinating. What if the real mastermind behind all of this chaos is not Drew, not Brennan, and certainly not Willow? What if Drew and Brennan are actually working together in a secret alliance? Think about it. Brennan needs leverage, and Drew needs to destroy Willow and Nina. What if Drew's paralysis was a meticulously calculated long con, orchestrated with Brennan's help, to draw out all of Willow's dark secrets? Looking ahead, if this is true, Nina's attempt to push Drew into the lake is exactly what they want. They want it on camera. They want Nina locked away, and they want Willow exposed for her crimes, including the potential murder of Kai. But the real shocker in this third future involves the PCPD. Dante and Chase are currently trying to mend their fractured relationship because Anna Devane demanded it. But what happens when Jason Morgan is found standing over Kai's dead body? Chase, eager to prove himself as a top-tier detective, might immediately arrest Jason for murder. Dante, knowing Jason's history and his connection to Sonny, might cross ethical lines to prove Jason's innocence. This would shatter their fragile truce instantly, sparking a massive civil war within the police department. Anna would be forced to choose between her two best detectives. And imagine if Elizabeth Baldwin gets dragged into this. She is already pressuring Willow about Drew's voice. If Willow realizes Elizabeth is getting too close to the truth, Willow might target Elizabeth next. This third future turns Port Charles into a paranoid thriller where no one is who they seem, alliances are completely fake, and the police force is torn apart from the inside. If you ask me, the path that feels most likely is a blend of Jason's dark discovery and Drew's calculated revenge. I keep coming back to the idea that Drew is absolutely not a passive victim. He is a trained operative with a military background. The fact that he is secretly regaining his speech and mobility while letting Nina and Willow believe they are in control is classic psychological warfare. He is gathering ammunition, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But the wild card is Jason. Jason returning to Port Charles just as Kai goes missing or turns up dead cannot be a coincidence. The path that makes the most sense is Jason discovering Kai's body and quickly realizing that Willow is the culprit. Willow is terrified, cornered by Elizabeth, and desperate to keep Drew silent. Desperate people make fatal mistakes. If Willow killed Kai to protect her secrets, Jason finding the body forces a massive confrontation between Jason, Michael, and Willow. Furthermore, I completely believe Jason is going to end things with Britt. His time in captivity has fundamentally changed him. He wants to protect Danny, and he knows that anyone attached to him romantically becomes a target. Breaking Britt's heart is, in his twisted logic, the only way to keep her safe. Lucas lecturing Britt is just the prelude to the emotional gut punch Jason is going to deliver. And regarding Jocelyn, she is definitely going to see right through Brennan. She survived Ross Cullum. She is not going to be fooled by an injured WSB director. She is going to dig, and she is going to find out that the black box is the center of the universe right now. If that scenario unfolds, we have to talk about what comes next. If Jason discovers Willow is a murderer and Drew exposes Nina's attempted murder, the shockwave will tear the Corinthos and Quartermain families to shreds. Michael will be forced to choose between his wife, who has turned into a ruthless killer to protect her secrets, and his family, who will demand justice. The story could be heading toward a massive trial where Willow's entire facade crumbles. If Drew takes the stand, speaking clearly and revealing everything Willow and Nina did to him, the fallout will be legendary. But even more dangerously, if Jocelyn uncovers the truth about the black box, she might inadvertently trigger a failsafe that Brennan set up, bringing the full corrupt weight of the WSB down on Port Charles. And what happens to Dante and Chase? When the dust settles from Jason's involvement in the Kai investigation, their partnership will be tested beyond repair. If Chase finds out Dante hid evidence to help Jason or Sonny, Chase might go to Anna to have Dante stripped of his badge permanent. We are not just looking at a few secrets coming out. We are looking at the total destruction of the status quo. The future of Port Charles is going to be written in betrayal, and I, for one, cannot wait to see who survives the fallout.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.